This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to know that our conference is being recorded. I'm going to get started right away. I didn't quite make all 70 slides um, yes or Tuesday, so I moved um, 15 slides from there into here. That gives us 70 slides to give today, so we gotta keep moving. I will just go through the first couple of slides while we're waiting for the rest of the team to gather, and remind you that if you want to chat, make sure you unmute. Most of or ask a question or make a comment, please do that. But most of the rest of the time, if you keep the mic muted, the recording comes out a little bit cleaner. Also, if you have trouble with your microphone or your headset or your speakers, there is a phone number in that email that I send each morning that will get you access to the audio in parallel to what you're doing on the computer. Um, we're on this overall mission to model it, document it, calc it, list it, coordinate it, and be done with it. Move on to the next project. Um, and I just keep putting this one up as the big picture of where we're going in this 5-day journey. Um, and while that's here, now let's go to the next slide. I'm gonna I changed gears just a little bit. If we had finished up on Tuesday where I had intended, we would have taken our model as we had created it with AutoCAD backgrounds, and I would have had us delete the AutoCAD backgrounds and then sort of go through this checklist to get caught up as if we had started with Revit links, Revit backgrounds. Instead, I said, we've got a nice clean break. This is really important to know how to start a new project using Revit backgrounds. So I'm going to take advantage of what I showed you last Tuesday, and then I'm going to take advantage of what we all did 2 days ago. Um, and we're going to use that to populate a brand new project with piping that we created 2 days ago and 9 days ago. And that'll give us the chance to start from scratch, totally nothing up our sleeve, start a brand new project, insert the Revit backgrounds, and create the views that we want. And then rather than redraw the second floor sprinkler system and redraw the ground floor sprinkler system, we're simply going to copy and paste that out of those two different projects, put it together in our brand new project, and then move forward and document it. So, one more cleanup thing before we get started. Um, James, you're with me, and you and I had a problem last Tuesday where we went to use the delete pipe button, and the darn thing just wouldn't let us pick on a pipe. You recall that, James?
Yeah, the delete pipe button and any other command involving sprinkler
Picking,
heads or piping.
picking pipes and stuff, yeah. And you remind me, I should probably move this solution around to a number of those. But um, you kind of figured it out, and I kind of figured it out for myself. But I want to quiz you. If I wasn't there and you didn't just keep pounding and get lucky, do you know that there's a standard way to look for a solution to a problem like that?
Within hydrocards, you mean, or on
Yes.
Revit?
Well, within hydrocards, but and that's the right answer, James, but I want to highlight for you that Revit took hydrocards to a much higher level of accessibility. So to show that, I'm going to go, and you don't have to try and follow along. Everybody can just watch this. Um, I'm back to the end of day, the where we left off on Tuesday, and I've got this view where I want to use delete pipes. And if I pick delete pipes, I can't pick any of those pipes. It's a nuisance. The hydrocards, James, work additionally better in Revit. What button did I pick that gave me this problem?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay.
What
Um,
button did, what do you mean?
I
Oh,
picked delete
oh, oh, well, yeah,
pipes
I see. What
and
command
it
you're
didn't
trying to
work.
use? Yeah,
What didn't work? Delete pipes didn't work, right?
yeah,
So if I hover over delete pipes and I hit F1, that takes me to how delete pipes works. And there's words here, blah, 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 blah. That's how the button works. But
yeah,
if I scroll all the way to the bottom, this is how the button doesn't work. You see troubleshooting?
yeah.
And if I click here, that says there's one way. And Tuesday, James, there were none. It would have said, sorry, I don't know what could possibly go wrong with this button. But
Right.
after I fixed it, we added this so that we now know a way this button doesn't work. And that's it's unable to select the pipe or fitting when trying to use this tool. And if you click on card 1383, it says you're unable to pick. The cause is there's an object in the current view that's at a higher elevation and overlapping the pipe or fitting that you're trying to pick on. The object causing the overlap might be an AutoCAD drawing, or it might be a filled region. You and I had an AutoCAD drawing, but
Yeah.
I added this filled region because I've had that problem with that also. The solution is hide or erase that higher object. This might be accomplished by changing the view range, um, or it might be accomplished by hitting temporary hide or isolate. I don't think we've used the temporary hide or isolate feature yet.
No, I don't think so either. So
Okay,
yeah, so your current issue right now, does that also not work with, I don't know what other you would try there, but
just plain picking that one, I didn't pick a button, so I'd have a harder time.
okay,
Uh,
yeah,
but couplings and add manual coupling, I
right.
should pick on a pipe. So
Yep.
I need to go through and think about what other buttons might could create that, and we'll add that solution to that also. But escape, escape, escape. I'm trying to click on that the thing that I think might be on top. I don't know if I made a big deal of this, but down in the bottom, if you're trying to pick stuff and you can't, get rid of all of the red X's down here in the lower right hand corner. If you're picking on stuff and you don't want to get rid of all those red X's on the bottom. But now if I click on the pipe, I didn't get the pipe, I got that drawing. And down here is temporary hide or isolate. You see that, James?
Yep.
I click on that and I'm going to say hide that element. And now that thing that was in my way is gone. It's not in my way anymore. So now if I hit delete pipe, I could delete that pipe.
So
This,
it pretty much turned off a layer in the CAD file?
well, an object. If I wanted to get rid of a layer, I would do a similar thing. I'd click on that object and I'd go down here to temporary hide. I said hide element. It just hid that one thing. If I said hide category, category equals layer, layer equals category, it would turn off all the things in of that type. And I'm
Hmm.
a little surprised that the ground floor didn't go away when I did that. But category is all the things of that type. Element is just that one specific thing that you picked on. And do you see the blue line, the cyan line all around my screen?
Yep.
That's there to say, hey, James, don't forget, you got some hidden stuff going on here.
Right.
And to get it back, you go to that same eyeglasses button and you say reset temporary hide. And now it's back. Um, the real problem you and I had was that the view range, which is in that hydrocard, the view range was set high enough that I was seeing not only the background for the ground floor, I was seeing the background for the second floor. And since I was seeing the background for the second floor, I was finding that before I was finding the pipes. Tom, you're following that?
Yeah, that made sense to me. You've got something on top of something else, and it's blocking out the selection.
Yes, sir. And Greg thanked me for the hint about the just before class about hitting F1 and getting the hydrocards for it. I think that's probably the most important lesson that I just shared with you. Anytime you have a problem, stop, think for a minute. What button did I pick that led to that problem? Go hover over that button. Let's say it was couplings. I'm going to hover over couplings and hit F1. And that takes you to the help for couplings. And you can either scroll down, or over here on the right, there's a little panel that says go all the way to the bottom for troubleshooting, and then click on troubleshooting, click here. And that'll take you to the 6 ways we know to screw up the couplings button. That's probably the most important lesson that I wanted to share with you just before we get started today. I'm going to go ahead and close Revit. I'm not even going to save that. And come back to we're finishing up what we started on Tuesday. We started a brand new project. We inserted some AutoCAD backgrounds, and then we drew a sprinkler system, at least for the ground floor. We did some very minor piping on the second floor. And and then we got stuck, or we ran out of time. Today, I want to show you how to do that same thing, but using Revit backgrounds. And we're going to start from scratch and build this small medical facility out of the Revit backgrounds.
Alan, a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a file with the piping that we did last week? I wasn't able to follow along. I could only watch.
Yes.
I can
You
import that
should
piping.
have it with the files I had you download this morning. You should have, if you unzip that thing to CHES, to C, you'd have a CHES intermediate training, and you'll have kickoff demo, and you'll have end of day lesson 1. Do I speak the truth?
I see intermediate under project files.
No.
Oh no, I see it. Got it. I got it. I see it. Revit
Cool.
1,
Yep.
lesson 1 RVT file. Thank you.
That's it. And 0 kickoff demo. Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. And we're going to use those. We're going to use those to collect our sprinkler system out of. The other ones we're going to use in just a moment is under Revit project files. In there's all kinds of versions of the medical facility, and there's all kinds of versions of an architect, and there's all kinds of versions 23, 24, 25, 26 of the engineering model. So stand by, we're going to use those. I can't emphasize enough, and I left this slide up a long time. This is the checklist. When you go to start your real project, come back to this checklist and remind yourself. You're going to open and verify each background. So you can't start a new project and insert a background and say, where did it go? What is it? You got to know something about it that you're linking to. So open it and look at it so you're confident you know what's in there and that there is stuff in there. Then you start a new project, you import the latest toolbox, and you save it as your project. At that point, it has nothing in it. Then you link the Revit file, and when you link the Revit file, you're getting all of the 3D objects that were in that link. You're not getting, and this is a good thing, you're not getting the 2,700 views that the architect created. You're not getting a detail of the doorknob and a shot of the secretary's desk, a rendered view of the secretary's desk, and a plot plan, a planting plan and a parking plan. All that stuff is that 3D model sliced, diced, and categorized the way the architect wanted to present it to his customer. We're going to take just the 3D model. When we link a Revit model into ours, we're getting just that 3D model, and we're going to slice, dice, and categorize that model according to what we need. A first floor sprinkler plan, a second floor sprinkler plan, a section of the building that shows the sprinklers in it. Those views we're going to create, and that's part of our new project. So we're going to create those working views. That's what it takes to get started. So let's get started. So the first thing says open and verify each of the projects you're planning to use. So I'm going to go to Revit 2023. You can do 23, 24, 25, or 26. And I'm going to file open.
One quick question.
No, go ahead.
So, as you know, that I was having trouble with 2024 Revit last time with it crashing my system. I actually had to roll back to 2022. Is 2022 still okay?
It's bad.
Is it?
It's bad because I didn't give you any backgrounds for 2022.
Well, the AutoCAD stuff came in fine.
And AutoCAD is version agnostic.
Okay.
Revit is upgradable to any later version, but you cannot. The only ones I sent you were 23, 24, 25, and 26. You can't open any of those with Revit 2022.
That's fine. I'll download the 23.
I think what I want to do today is I have 22 versions of these two Revit files. Do you see I've just selected them?
Yes, I see them.
I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to put them in that folder that I gave you access to this morning.
Okay.
And you want to trying to get there, paste. Okay, they'll be there in just a moment. But you need to copy them or download them and put them in CHES online training.
Will do.
And then you can follow along. You bet. You can follow along like we are. But before next Tuesday, go get 24, 25, or 26, or re-download 23, whatever you have to do. But the rest of the class, you'll be better served if you're on the same one of those versions than
All right.
this
Well,
one.
2023 is downloading right now, so.
Okay. Maybe you've got it just as fast of a solution as what I gave you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I was in the process of, I'm going to go open and look at the backgrounds that I want to use. And there are two backgrounds, an architectural and a mechanical. So let me go File Open, C, HES, and then Online Intermediate Training is where I meant for you to download those files I gave you. And if you go into Revit project files, if you're using 23, then open the 23 one. If you're using 25, then open the 25 one. So I'm going to open Architecture 2023. I'm picking Open. And I don't plan to do anything in here. I just want to go see what it is. And know what I'm getting when I link that file. Let me point out to you, all these, I'm in the project browser. There's more here than I will count, but there must be 50 or more different views. And and if I just started putting sprinkler pipe in here, I'd be in trouble in two ways. I'd have all kinds of views I didn't need. Here's looking at the entrance hidden. Here's looking at the entrance shaded. Um, there's just all kinds of views I don't need. The restroom west wall, really, that's just not part of my sprinkler plan. The current view that I'm looking at is this view named Squiggle 3D Squiggle, and that's the default 3D view. It gets reused over and over and over. I showed you how to pick on something, and after you pick on it, you could pick that selection box. It would remake that 3D view as just the stuff you selected. Okay, well, I can
Alan, real
see.
quick.
Yeah.
I've got the file folders and I've got everything else that came across, but that Revit project files folder is empty for me. And I just re-extracted it and checked it again, and it's empty in the original folder. Any idea?
That one I might want to see.
I had the same problem. It was actually just because it looks like you might have sent it all in the lesson 1 folder, and you just didn't duplicate the files. So it should be in the. I had it at least in the lesson 1 folder.
Okay, and those files are looking the same.
Yeah. Tell me who I should make the presenter so we can see that. James, is that you?
Well, right now sure, but right now I'm in the middle of extracting the lesson 1 again and see if it's in there.
Okay, but who was saying they don't have it? They're looking
I
and
do
they don't
not.
have it. Who is that?
James.
James, I'm gonna
Yeah,
make
now
you.
it's saying my path is too long again on that, so I gotta take it out of this folder. Yeah, I mean, I can, I don't know, a good way to show you to prove
Well,
that.
I'm gonna make you the presenter so
Sure.
that you can show me something.
Yeah, okay. So here's the file I got today. I extracted it. No errors, no nothing.
But pay attention to the top. At the top, it says it's on OneDrive, James. So it's nowhere near your C drive.
James, you got to drop it into your C drive. Just open that up.
No, I understand that, but this is the folder that was sent to me. I get that part. I did put the yes. What I'm showing you is the folder I got does not have it.
All right.
This is the exact folder that I downloaded.
Okay. Can you show me? Can you go to downloads for me?
I didn't download it to the downloaded folder.
Okay, you
I downloaded it
it
directly into here.
to OneDrive. Let's
Well,
try
yeah, I mean,
downloading.
that's just how my computer. That's how my computer operates. Everything is based off that OneDrive.
Uh-huh.
So Revit training is my folder that I use for this. I downloaded it directly into here. This is the one I downloaded. That's the file size. I don't know if my file size looks right.
That's plenty big.
Yep.
Okay.
Extracted it, and then
HES.
without even looking at it, I just put that in my
Online
HES. But just now, unfortunately, I'm realizing that this is all that's in the Revit project files folder.
Oh, erase me. Okay, so do the lesson 1 also.
Lesson 1.
HES.
For some reason, mine doesn't have the Revit one in there.
I sent that everybody, other people did get that.
Yeah,
file.
no. I wonder if I should. I'm gonna.
You don't have to download it again. Give me a second to check what I sent you. And I'll share my screen, and then we'll figure out where that was supposed to come from. I'm going to go back
Here I am dragging everybody behind again.
Make presenter.
I can
Yes.
do that stuff sharing. Yeah.
Share my screen. Share that one. And I'm going to go to S favorites class. Favorites, training classes. Okay, so these are the folders I gave you access to. And I
I'm
think the
not seeing your
lesson,
screen, Alan.
I'm sorry, what am I doing wrong? I didn't finish. I said share my screen and I didn't pick the share. Thanks. All right, so you should have these 3 folders in that link that I sent you. And I'm going to start at the top one, kickoff meeting, extract to C, HES, Revit, Revit project files. So there's one of each of those in version 2023. So let's go find that one. I'm going to back you up to the one that I sent you a week ago Tuesday.
For what it's worth, yeah, no, that one doesn't have it either. Yeah, I'm not sure. I do have it on the original, so those are all the same. I think that
Yep.
when I drag that into my HES, the computer doesn't just add whatever files were in there. I think it overwrites the whole folder.
I
I'm looking
can't
at the
rule
original.
out that OneDrive does stuff different from the regular file explorer. But if you drag an HES folder onto an HES folder, if you drag an HES folder onto a C drive or a OneDrive or a place that has another HES folder, I'm telling you it adds, it doesn't replace.
Right. All right.
I'll go you one better. Someone was stuck with Revit 2022. Who was that?
That was me. I'm next to James's office.
Okay. So I put an architect and I put an engineer right in the lesson 2 folder, those 2 files. James, go get those 2 files right out of that folder and put them in your HES training folder. There's no extract, no copy, no move. It's 2 files. Go get the 2 files and put them in the place that you're going to work with them.
Okay.
And then when you go to open it, if you're using 2024, it's going to open it, but it's going to say, "Oh, I'm upgrading it." Fine. That's part of looking at the stuff you're going to work with. When it's done upgrading, you're going to do File, Save As, and put it back. Now it's a 2024 version, and you'll be able to open it way faster in the future. And that applies.
Yeah. What's weird is I just re-extracted it all, and they're on there, and I put it in my HES Revit project files. I got them all in there now, and now it's not showing up on Revit. I'm guessing I have to close it out and reopen it.
If they're there, that's not my experience.
Okay.
That's not my experience.
Windows, HES, Revit online training, Revit project files. Got the files in there now, but all right, sounds good. I'll figure that part out. I got them in the folder at least now. I'm restarting Revit, but I don't want to hold up anymore.
Okay. So we're at the open and verify. I opened the architectural. I'm just going to poke around a little bit more. There's way more views in here than I care to mess with, but I'm going to open 1 or 2 of them. There's a ground floor view that has room names and room numbers, no ceiling heights. If I look at a section, here's a section through the building, here's a section through part of the building, here's a section through the tall part of the building. I'm going to double click on that. So there's a section through the tall part of the building. And I'm going to pay attention to, I'm looking for and I'm paying attention to what are the places that I'm going to want to measure my piping off of. I'm going to want to measure my piping off of the ground floor in this office space and off of the second floor in this office space. I'm going to want to measure off of the ground floor in the lobby, and I'm going to want to measure off of the floor. It turns out to be the lower level, but the floor in this emergency response area. And if I looked a little more carefully for a section and or I created one, like this section, if I made it bigger enough to see the whole building, and then looked at that section, here's where I can see that the office part of the building has got a ground floor and a second floor. And I can see that the lower level has its own level. When I'm putting sprinklers in this part of the building, I'm going to want to measure off of that. When I'm putting sprinklers in this part of the building, I'm going to want to measure off of this or off of that. And when I'm putting sprinklers in here, I'm going to want to measure off of this ground floor. And it looks like maybe there might be some sprinklers off of this platform here, but that platform is this level, which is the second floor. So I'm saying I really care about lower level, ground floor, and second floor. And I don't care about the underside of the roof structure. And I don't care about the top of the upper parapet or the atrium roof. I'm not measuring piping above those levels. I'm just really interested in those three: ground floor, second floor, and lower level. That makes sense, Tom?
I've got it.
Okay. So I'm just going to close. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to do a file. If it did an upgrade on the way in, I'm going to do a file save as and resave it so that it's in the current version. And then I'm going to close that. I'm not going to save just because, but if you did an upgrade, be sure to save so that when you open it in your version, it's not going to have to do an upgrade again. And now I'm going to open again Revit project files, and I'm going to open the 2023 one. Same project, but it was called Small Medical Facility Engineering. And what I'm seeing on the first view that opened is some ductwork and some diffusers, and I can't, maybe some electrical stuff. If I go find a 3D view, that doesn't look like the whole building, but in 3D, I can see a bunch of electrical outlets and I can see the floor. So this is kind of interesting. I'm not sure it's really typical that the architectural model doesn't have the floors in it. The engineering model has the floors in it. And it's got the kind of the rest of the structure. And now I have an idea of what's going on there. If I look in one of the sections, there's the second floor. I'm going to make that go down lower enough. There, and there's the ground floor. And if I made the section wider enough, I might see I see that there's a lower floor here. I'm not seeing the line, the level for it, but I can see there's a floor for the ground floor and one for the lower level. Okay, so now I have an idea what's in the engineering model. And if I had to do an upgrade to get here, I'm going to do a save. There's one other thing to get things clean is in each of these models, if you go to insert and manage links, it's not uncommon to see a list of links here. The engineer was linking the architect and the structural and the plumbing, and the architect was linking the plumbing and the structural and the engineering. Um, Eventually, they wind up talking to each other, and it takes longer to load because it's got to load and then go look for that link. So I'm recommending that generally you come in and empty these links out. So what you're linking is just when you get engineering, you're getting just engineering stuff. All right, so I'm closing that. And I have memorized 100 feet for the ground floor. So next on our checklist is determine the working level, which I got out of one of those views that we did. I saw that the ground floor was at 100, and I'm going to say I saw that the second floor was at 113'4". Once I get the link in, I'll be able to find any of the other levels that I might be interested in. Okay, and after you open it, you want to resave it to the current version. That's something I said, and I've got a slide here to say you should do that. Then we opened the mechanical, we looked at it, and we got an idea what's going on in it, and we're going to resave it if we had to do an upgrade. Resave to the current version. Good. Now that I have an idea what's in those links, I'm going to go start my own project and link those things into it. So starting my own project, I'm back to the starting place in Revit. I'm doing new ... and I'm going to take note that the default template is what we set up with our one-time setup stuff early last Tuesday. And then I'm going to pick OK.
Alan,
Yep.
you do me a favor. I upgraded to 2025, and I don't have that stuff anymore that we did, the one-time setup. Could you run through that real quick?
I can. The one-time setup stuff includes file options, and then file locations, and you don't have the template in here yet. So do +, and then CHES, Hydratech for Revit, data families, and then you're going to pick 2025, I'm thinking. I'm going to just point at it, go to 23, and then I'm going to use the template that's the latest one, 1125. And when I pick open, that adds it to the bottom of this list. I think I picked on the metric one. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that one. And then take the one on the bottom of the list and you hit the up arrow, up arrow, up arrow till you get it on the top of the list. You pick OK. And as a result of doing that, anytime in the future you pick file new, then that template's going to be available to you. Got it, Greg?
No, can you do that one more time? Really slow.
File.
Hey, hold on. Right, file, you got that.
Options.
Options.
File locations.
Okay, I had that. This is where I get lost.
Okay, then the green, this is the list of templates that'll show up when you start a new project.
Okay.
Pick the green plus sign and go drive to CHES, Hydratech for Revit, Data, Families, 2023 or 2025.
Data, families, 2025. Okay.
And then look for the one that says HydroCAD Imperial 2024 11/25. That's the most recent Imperial template in that folder.
Got it.
You click that, you pick OK or open, and that adds it to the bottom of the list. Mine has a 2 on the end because I've got it in there twice already. And then you hit the up arrow to make it be at the top of the list.
Okay.
And since I don't need it, another one of them, I'm hitting the red minus sign just to get rid of it. But now that you've got that, you pick OK.
Thank you.
One more thing, type KS. That's keyboard shortcuts. Then you get a dialog for keyboard shortcuts. Do I speak the truth?
Yep.
Then pick import ... And I think you can almost chant where I'm going to go. C, HES, Hydrotech for Revit, data. But then after data, you're going to go to setup. And you see 3 files that say keyboard shortcuts. Did you find them?
Yep.
Pick the one with the latest date. Mine is dated 3/15/2021.
Yep.
Pick open. If you trust me, pick overwrite existing shortcuts.
Okay.
And then pick OK.
Got it.
And if you click on the HydroCAD ribbon and you hover over the couplings button, it should say couplings parentheses CP.
Yep.
The CP wasn't there a minute ago. It'll be there from now on. He's good?
Yep. Got it.
I wonder if I goofed up just a little bit. I'm going to go to help videos and type in one time. One time. One-time setup for seismic assemblies. One-time setup for seismic assemblies. That doesn't seem like it. Let me try one more thing. Setup. I got too many things. All right, so I'm going to write a note so that the next time you can type one time and get those instructions I just gave you. That sounds like a good thing to look for, doesn't it? You think, Greg?
At least one time.
Yeah. And I'm saying there is a video on it. I'm not finding it right now. And if there's not, I'm going to take a snip of our class and put it there. But
every time you upgrade your Revit, you're going to have to run that again.
Yeah, like if you get Revit 2027, you're going to need to do it for Revit 2027. If you uninstalled and reinstalled Revit, the chances are you'll have to do it then.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then I did, now that my one-time setup is done, I did new, and I used that template that came up automatically, and I picked OK. Start a new project, use the default HydroCAD template. Next step is copy the toolbox stuff into it, and I'm going to show off again. This is a brand new project that came from the template. Under schedules in the project browser, I've got about something less than a dozen of them. If I go to the HydroCAD ribbon and I pick the help pull down and I say import from the latest toolbox, if you've just installed Revit, and this is the first time you've used this import latest toolbox, it's going to take you a little bit longer than it's going to take me right now because I have done this before. So my dialog box came up almost I'm not immediately, but it came up pretty quick. Yours is still busy downloading and upgrading the toolbox file that came from the cloud. Once that's done, it'll open this dialog box, and I'm going to take a shortcut and simply say, if it's in the toolbox, I want it in my project. So I'm going to click select all. I'm picking ignore because if I already have it, I don't need if I already have it scheduled, I don't need a new copy of the schedule. If I wanted to make sure that I had absolutely the latest and greatest of everything, I could say overwrite. So even if I have a schedule, get me the newer one. Either way is fine. You'll have everything that you could want if you picked select all and then continue. And now it's busy getting all of the pipe types out of the toolbox and putting them in this project, getting all the
Do
fitting.
we have to do this again, even though we've done it before?
Say that again?
Do we have to do that again?
For each new project, at least once, so that
Okay, thank you.
you know that the project you're working on is an up-to-date project. It's not a template that was created 6 months ago. It's the template that was created 6 months ago, plus all the content that's been added in that last 6 months. Plus, there's no harm if you're working on a project that you started a year and a half ago. You started a year and a half ago, you got the best that was available a year and a half ago, but since then, we've added newer and better content. So if you run the toolbox again after a year and a half, your project will have all that newer content that was created in the last year and a half. It's like not updating the program, it's updating your project. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Somebody says, "Ooh, I'd like the pipe dimensions to use italics instead of straight up and down Arial text." I can accommodate that and add another pipe type or another tag that has italics. How do I get it to you? I don't update the program. I simply update the toolbox. And if you import the latest toolbox, you'll get that new tag that has italic text in it. I was off to show you that a minute ago under schedules, we had less than a dozen, and now we've got more than 24 different schedules. So if I'd been running my project for a year and a half, and a year and a half ago there were only 10 schedules available, no harm in running this thing and saying ignore. It'll only add new stuff to your project, and you would get the 24 schedules that are now available. So I'm going to close whenever you import stuff and it includes a schedule, it just opens the last schedule. So I picked on the tab to close that. Okay, I'm going to go back to our checklist that says start a new project, copy the toolbox into it. Then I'm going to do a file save as, and I'd like you to save it as your name or your initials -FP for fire protection -SMF for small medical facility -2025 if you're using 2025 -2023 if you're using 23. I'm going to do file save as a project, and I'm going to put it in CHES online training, and then I'm going to put it I'm going to label it end of day for lesson 2. So when I'm done at the end of today, I can post that and you can see what I did today. So I'll overwrite it. Okay, I'm going to collapse this thing about schedules on the side here and just point out that I've got a very basic kind of nothing project. So in the project browser under views, I have one floor plan, I have two 3D views, I have one section, and I have one drafting view, and that's it. That's all the views that I have. I don't have a detail of the doorknob on the men's room. I don't have a section of the west wall of the women's room. All I've got are the things that the basic views that came out of that template.
Alan, I had a quick question. Sorry.
Yep, go
How do I
ahead.
move, how do I move the properties bar over to where you have yours? Mine's above the.
Okay. So time out then for the user interface just a little bit. I think out of the box, this properties box is hiding underneath, and it's got lots of different places that it can go. I'm being very careful moving it around. If you grab the top of it, it moves. If you move it out here, it's like floating out in space. I think floating out in space could actually go on another whole screen if you wanted to. I've currently dragged it to my second screen. But now that you're dragging it around, you could park it next to the project browser, or you could park it on the right side. I don't know if you could park it on the bottom. Looks like you could park it on the bottom, but where I had it was parked over on the right side. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, but when I move it to the right side, it doesn't highlight a park option.
Yeah, I think you have to just keep moving very carefully and move it like I'm moving it. It's on the right side. I got to move it so it's really on the right side before the park thing shows up.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
It's touchy because they're trying to just click and drag and give you a million options. So you gotta really wander around to get the option you want, and then you can adjust the width of it by clicking on the boundary between the drafting area and the panel. Okay, sticking with our plan, I did a file save as, and now I'm going to use a section view to go make sure that my level 1 is the same as the level 1. My starting level, my Z that I'm starting at, is the same as the Z as the links started at. So I'm going to use a section looking north to move the column A up 100 feet, and I'm going to use that section looking east to move column 1 up 100 feet, and both of those are after I actually move the level from 0 to 100 feet. So over here, I'm going to go to I have a section. I'm just double clicking on the bubble to get to that section. I'm going to go find where it says level 1, and I'm going to click on it and make it be 100 instead of 0. And if I zoom out, you will notice that the section line, or the grid line, is down here. If I go back to the plan view, I don't see either grid line, and that's because this grid line got left behind. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to pick move, and I'm going to click nowhere, and then I'm going to point north and type 100. So I just moved that grid line up to 100. That got me back grid line A, but I'm missing grid line 1. So I'm going to create another section. To do that, I'm going to use the quick access toolbar, all these tiny little pictures way at the top of Revit. And there's a button that looks like a section bubble. It works like a section bubble. And I'm going to draw that from north to south. I'll have it look pretty far and hope and expect that I find grid line 1 in that section. So I'm double clicking on that section bubble, and sure enough, there's grid line 1. There's level 1. I'm going to move grid line 1 up 100 feet. The section line itself is down there. Why don't I pick on it and move it 100 feet as well? So this section line shows up in the section. I will just change the crop on that section so I can see things a little bit better, and then go back here, and now I can see grid line 1 and grid line A. Any questions on that? We're closing in on a workspace that matches or that will legitimately host our links. So next thing on our list is to link that Revit. I want to make sure that I'm on a view that's at the level of the stuff that I want to bring in. And I'm on a view that starts at level 1. That's this view, and over here it says that view that view should say what level it starts at, and I'm sure it's in there and I'm not finding it. View, detail level.
I think you just had your mouse on it down there at the bottom.
Down.
Scroll right there. Oh. You're talking about the associated level?
Yes.
Yeah, you're almost up to it.
In extents.
In extents, there it is. Okay. Level 1. Okay. And we know that level 1 is at 100. And I know that link is at 100. So I feel like I have permission to link the architectural file now. So to do that, I'm going to go to Insert and then Link Revit. And in wherever the heck I put that, on OneDrive, on the G drive, and Q drive, I recommended putting it on your C drive in HES under Hydrotech, under Revit Online Training. I delivered Revit project files, and I want the Revit 2023, or the one that I opened and resaved, and that's what I want to link. So I'm going to pick OK. And this is where you normally get nervous. I just put that whole building into this project and I don't see it. Probably the safest way is to type Z for zebra, A for alpha. That's zoom all. And I see it did come in. It just didn't come in where I happen to have my grid lines. Exact same reason to do the exact same thing when we had an AutoCAD background. I could move this to line up with my column lines, or I could move my column lines to move up with this. It's more likely everybody else is working down here. So I'm going to pick a window around my 2 grid lines and my 2 section lines, and I'm going to pick move, and I'm going to start at the intersection of A1, and I'm going to move that down to this intersection here. And now my A lines up with A, and my 1 lines up with 1-1. So I'm going to escape, 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 click on the 1, click on the 1 again, and I'll make it say 1-1.
Alan?
Yep, go ahead.
Since we just imported a Revit model that has column lines in it already, is there a reason to keep the original column lines? Wouldn't we just use the ones that are part of that Revit model?
You're 2 reasons. If your project doesn't have any grid lines, it makes it harder to line views up on the sheets. If you want to get 2 views on the same sheet and you want them to line up, it's by default looking at your grid lines to decide, I can get those to line up with each other.
Right.
The other reason to get our own is that we can control them then. If I want to take this grid line and make it taller to here or shorter to there, I can do that. If I want to take their grid line, it's stuck in that link. I don't have control over it. The other problem is that the architect has grid lines, and the plumber has grid lines, and the structural guy has grid lines, and they move them to make themselves happy. You wind up with a gamushel of grid lines. if we have our own grid lines, I'll show you a little bit later in the documentation where I can say, turn off everybody's grid lines except for ours. Then we have control over them.
Fair enough. Thank you.
I've got something interesting that's related to my problem on Tuesday. I can't click the linked model. It looks like you can.
Okay. That's a general thing. I don't know that this is going to fix it, but a general thing is
Oh yes, that's right. I'm sorry.
when you click stuff and you get stuff you don't want, go down here and make these all red X's. If you're clicking something and you can't get it, go down here and make these not be red X's.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
Later, you can, when you got some time and you're tired of reading Yahoo News or something, you can go down and hover over each one of these and hit F1 and get some more details on it. Each one does something a little bit different, but I'm telling you, I went easily 10 years not caring what those were. They were either all red X's or they were all not. And now, even though I know what each one does individually, I usually just turn them all on or turn them all off. Okay, so I inserted the Revit link, and then I want to go get the levels that they have that I care about and the grids that they have that I care about. So let me do the levels first. I think if I go back to my section view, here's a section that I'm going to make bigger. I don't trust that one. I don't see a dotted blue line. I'm just going to delete that one and recreate it using the section tool through the whole building. Okay, now I see that dotted blue line, so I know I'm through the middle of the building and I'm looking through the rest of the office space. Then if I double click on that section, in here, I can see my level 1. I can't see their levels. Just like I was seeing on the other view, I was seeing their grids and my grids. Here I'm seeing my levels. I'm not seeing theirs. First thing I'm going to do to tweak that is go to the view template. By default, it seems to have set the view template to FP working section. And I want the levels on. They seem to be on because I see mine. And I want them all on, but it seems like it's only showing mine right now. Besides the categories, a level is a category or a layer, and I can turn that layer on and off. Occasionally, I want to be more specific about, yeah, I want the levels on, but not these and just those. There's a thing called filters, and filters say, there's a filter built for levels that says, if it's a linked level, I don't want to show it. If it's a level in the link thing, I do want to show it. We can talk maybe even on next Thursday about how you can create one of these filters, but I've got a filter that's called all linked grids and levels. And with that, I can say the linked ones want to be on or off. So I'm turning them on, picking OK. And now I see my level and I see their levels. But you see, when I click on their level, it's like part of an AutoCAD block. I pick on the level, but I get the entire block. I want to get a second floor level like they have a second floor level. And I already have a ground floor level at 100. I can rename it just by clicking on the name and typing it ground floor. So I have the level, and now my level's called the same as theirs. But then I also want one of these lower levels. And the slide says use copy monitor to copy the levels and the grids. I'm going to do it 2 different ways. The first copy monitor I'm going to say is I want one of these for myself. I don't want just the architect to have that. So I'm going to go to collaborate, and I'm going to go to copy monitor. The significance of copy monitor is I'm copying the information out of the link into my project, and I'm monitoring it so that if the architect decides lower level is at 98 feet, not 98'4", because it's monitored, when I open my project and say, whoa, 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 somebody changed really important information. We're not calling lower level 98'4" anymore. We're calling it 98 feet. So the monitor will warn you about that. So I'm going to click copy monitor. I'm going to copy from a selected link. Hopefully the red X's are off, and hopefully it would pick it even if the red X's were on. But I hovered till I saw it highlight, and I am now copying stuff out of that link. And I'm going to pick copy, that one, and then I'm going to pick finish. Okay, and then I'm going to pick finish. All right, now I'm claiming I have a lower level that's part of my project, and it's,
Hey, Alan,
yep.
this is Josh. Hey, I've got all the X's off, and I'm still not able to click on that lower level.
Okay, so
Same here.
escape, escape, escape. Go back to copy monitor and click on select link.
Gotcha.
And now move around until you see, I'm moving around and I'm seeing that blue thing show up. And if I
Gotcha.
hang out, it says what I'm clicking on is that link. Okay, so now it says, okay, we're going to grab stuff out of that link. And I'm going to do copy. And then I'm going to be able to grab stuff
Okay.
out of that link.
Got it.
And I'm going to grab second floor, and I'm going to pick finish.
Great. Thank you.
Cool. Now, I could have, and I'll do this in a minute, but I could have used copy monitor to say, hey, just copy all of the levels that are here. But I was making a big deal out of the architects almost always have 6 times more levels than we really care about. The levels in their project that we care about in our project are, where are we going to measure pipe up from? And I'm claiming that's the ground floor, the second floor, and the lower level. Now I'm going to do that button again, but I'm going to go back to the plan view. And in the plan view, I want to get all of these grid lines. And you'll notice if I click on A, I get A. If I try and click on their A, I get their everything. If I try and click on their C, I get everything. And probably if I had these all red X's, I'm going to make them all red X's. I wouldn't be able to pick on it at all. And I'll see if the red X's get in trouble for this copy monitor thing. So in the plan view now, I'm going to go to copy monitor. I'm going to select a link. And yeah, even though I have all these checked off, I'm using a thing that says pick a link. You got to be able to pick it, whether it's pinned or not. So I'm picking that link. And now I'm going to copy not just one grid line, but I'm going to copy multiple. And I'm going to pick a big old window around everything. I don't really want to copy everything, so I'm going to filter, check none, and check grids. So I'm copying just grids. I think it would be kind of cool if you could copy monitor ceilings and lights and other stuff, but they only selected some like major components that said, yeah, we're using this feature only on major components. We're going to use it for grids and levels, period. So there, I found 17 grids in my big old selection. I'm going to pick OK. You can't finish that until you pick the word finish. That finishes this copy multiple thing. But I can't finish the entire monitor thing unless I pick the green check mark. So first I pick this finish, then Revit just messes with our heads and hides the green check mark, but it's still waiting for me to pick the green check mark. You got to go back up to and this is just like the worst command in the world. You have to go back to the to the tab for copy monitor to find the finish button, that green finish button. So then I'm picking the green finish button, and now you see I have a grid C1 and a D1, and I could take that whole my batch and put them down there. So theirs are up here and mine are down here. And now it's a mess because I got doubles. That is what the filter is about. So I'm going to take this view and I'm going to apply a view template, and I'm going to call it a working floor plan. And in the working floor plan, very specifically for what we're trying to accomplish here, I'm going to go to that filters thing, and I'm going to say, don't show the linked grids and levels. So I want grid lines on, I want levels on, but I want to, of all of those grid lines, I only want to see the Hydrotech grid lines, not the everybody else ones. So I'm going to pick OK, and then pick OK, and that solved that problem. And this view template has been changed so that if I make other views, the other views are going to hide those other grid lines as well. While I'm at it, whenever I start using a view template, there are a couple of things that don't come for free with the view template. One of those things that doesn't come for free is, what do you want me to do with the Revit links? I want them to be underlaid. I don't want them yelling at me. So I'm going to check mark underlay the Revit links. And the other thing that I don't get for free is the view range. These are things that change for every project. So we can't create a view range that works for everybody all the time in the view template. I can, though, now that I'm working on this project, edit the view range and say I want to go from the associated level 0 to the associated level 13'4". That's a number you have to do research to know, but we've used enough times, you know what that's about. And I'm going to make the view depth. How far below 0 do I want to look? And the answer is I don't want to look anywhere below the bottom. So I pick OK, and I pick OK. And now every other view that I make is going to have the background sort of grayed out as an underlay, and it's going to have a view range of whatever this level is to this level plus 13'4". And the other thing that we did was, and it's not going to show the linked grid lines or grid linked levels. Cool. So we inserted, copy monitored the other grids and levels. So now we're going to create some other working views. We need to create a section and determine the height of the lower level and the height of the ground floor and the height of the second floor. I'm just going to use this slide to say we figured out 13'4" happens to work for all of those in this project. So 13'4" is the magic number. Then I'm going to create a ground floor, a second floor, and a lower level view. So all in one shot, I'm going to make 3 new views, one called ground floor, one called second floor, and one called lower level. To do that, there's a view ribbon, and then plan views and floor plan. And then I can select those 3 levels and create a floor plan based on each of those levels. And then we're going to adjust the view range and the crop region for each of those new views that we're going to create. Go ahead.
This is Chris. I noticed that after we do we did the last part, that the view range is no longer, you're not able to edit it anymore. It's grayed out. Is that normal?
Yes, and that goes to the definition of what a view template is. So let me explain that. That's a really good question. I took this view that I was in and I said, edit the view range. And the view range has got this great big long list of stuff, Chris. And the long list of stuff says, in the view template, I want to tell you which layers are on and off. and I want to tell you what the view range is, and I want to tell you what the filters are to use. So there's all these things. And Chris, you've used AutoCAD a bunch.
That's correct.
So in AutoCAD, you can say layer manager. I want a layer set to turn layers on and turn layers off, rather than always going into layer manager and one at a time turning things on and off. This view template is the equivalent of that, but it's that plus 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 plus. It's not just which layers are on or off. It's all these different kind of things, which model layers are on and off, which annotations are on or off, what you're going to do with the Revit links, what you're going to do with the CAD links, what you're going to do with the filters, and what you're going to do with the view range. I have to apologize for being so long getting to your question. It's like it's all important, but your question was, how come I can't adjust the view range? It's because you set a view template, and the view template says, I am in charge. The view range is set by the view template.
Got it.
So if you say, yeah, I want to set the layers and stuff, and I want to set the filters and stuff, but let me have control over the view range, then use the view template and uncheck view range.
Got it. Thank you.
You bet. And I hope all the rest of that blabbering you will find useful. It goes to the definition of what is a view template. It's a way to establish and to enforce a set of standards on a view. And it's optional whether you enforce those things or not. So by my check marking that, every time I make a new floor plan and I apply this template, the view range will get set to 0 to 13'4". Okay, I beat that one to death. But don't make that make you shy about asking questions. I'm going to pick OK, and I'm going to go back so I don't get lost. I want to create 3 more views using that view template. One thing that's not in the view template is the cropping. I said we're going to slice, dice, and categorize. Slice is view range. Dice is the crop, and the categorization is that visibility graphics list of categories. So I'm going to go back to this plan view, and I'm going to go to view. I'm going to go to plan views. I'm going to go to floor plans, and it says, gee, Al, you have a second floor level and you have a lower level, and you haven't ever created a floor plan for it. Did you want to do that now? Yes, and actually, I have a ground floor plan, and even though I already have a view, I'm unchecking don't duplicate. I'm checking go ahead and make one of each of those. So I'm saying create 3 new views. Before I pick OK, I'm going to point out over here under floor plans right now is just this fire protection floor plan. When I pick OK, there's 3 new plan views. And if I go to the ground floor, that's the ground floor. If I go to the lower level, that's the lower level. And if I go to the second floor, that one's probably easier to recognize. You see the offices up at the top here, and on the ground floor, they've got a different configuration for those offices. The slide says make the 3 views and then make sure the view range is okay for all of them. I did that by enforcing that 0 to 13'4", but the cropping is going to be unique to each of those views. So I'm going to the ground floor. On this view, I'm going to go to the properties under extents and say crop the view and show me the crop region. This box is the crop region. The ground floor quits at that stairway. It quits at this north wall, and then it quits at that east wall and at kind of that south wall. So I've cropped it, and that box is how it's cropped. For me, that box is ugly, so I'm going to go back to crop region visible and turn it off. So the view is cropped, but I don't see that ugly box that defines the crop. Now I'm going to go to the lower level view, and I'm going to crop and show the crop region for it. And here the east is just the other side of that stairway. The south is that section of the emergency area, and the north is that north area. And so that's an okay view of the lower level. And now I'm going to get rid of the ugly crop box. And then I'm going to go to the second floor, and I'm going to crop it by setting the crop on and the crop region visible on. That goes all the way up to the lobby. It leaves out, the second floor does not include that emergency response area, and it includes that stuff. And then I'm going to get rid of the ugly box. Okay, and
So you don't need to include the grid lines with the cropping?
the grid line, that hints at something else important. There's two major kinds of things in our project. The two major things are model objects and annotation objects. The grid lines have a little bit of feature of both, but I'm going to call them annotations, at least for now. So when I'm cropping stuff, I'm cropping the model. I'm not cropping the annotation. So I don't have to make this big enough so that it stays outside of there. They're annotations, and they're sort of immune to the crop box. There is another thing, I don't use it a lot, but there's annotation crop, and that gives you this dotted blue line. And if I took it and I moved it in, I would expect that I could get rid of those annotations, and it doesn't seem like I do. I don't use it enough to to explain why that still doesn't crop those annotations. However, the answer is no. You don't have to worry about the grid lines. They'll take care of themselves because they're not. What you're cropping is the model, is the walls and the doors and the windows and the sprinkler pipe, all the 3D objects. You're cropping that stuff, but you're not cropping the notes or the annotations.
Hey, Alan, I did a
Go
little
ahead.
experimenting and found that the grid lines and the section lines seem to be an annotation exception to that window. All the other annotations will clip back, but not the grid lines and section lines.
Yeah, and that's because, and good observation. Um, Grid lines are not just a note. They're a representation of a plane that cuts through the entire project. So they sort of have some properties of both kinds of things. The plane is kind of a 3D thing, and it behaves according to the objects part. The actual wording and stuff is more annotation, and it behaves like that. So too bad I can't give you a rule and it's hard and fast. Grid lines and levels have 1 foot in each one of those two categories, those two major breakdowns of things. Okay, so let's get lost. We created the ground floor, the second floor, and the lower level, and then I'm going to create a note that it created additional views in that project browser, and that when I changed the view template, anything I changed in the view template was applied to all three views. And I think I can leave that at that. Okay. We've done all of this, but I don't see any of the duct work or anything. And that's because I wanted to get that copy monitor stuff to be easy to copy the grids out of the architectural thing. If I had 2 or 3 or 4 links, I'd have to be real careful or pay attention to which one of those links I was copying the grids out of. By doing it before I put the mechanical in, it was real easy to know that I was copying the architect's grids. But now it's time to additionally link the mechanical view. So we're going to go back here, and I happen to be on the second floor. I'm going to go to Insert, Ribbon, and then Revit Link or Link Revit. I will go ahead and save. That comes up. It's not totally random, but every 20 minutes or so. And I'm in the habit of saying, yes, I want to do that. And what I'm going to import now or link now is the engineering model. And if I were to pick 24, it would say, I'm sorry, this is Revit 23. I can't read a 24 file. If I picked 22, it would temporarily upgrade it. And every time I opened this project, it would temporarily upgrade it. So that's part of why we opened it and resaved it in the version that we're using. And I have it opened and resaved in 23. I'm going to open that. And now I see both links, the architect and the engineering link. And the architect is, I kind of softened that up by saying it's an underlay. This is a new link. I'm going to go back to the project, to the view template. The view template, I would have thought I applied. I'm going to take all three of these views, and I'm going to apply a view template for the FP working. I'm going to double check that my view template has the view range set to 13'4". It does, and I'm going to apply it. But the other thing that's new is I have a Revit link where when I messed with the view template before, I said all the Revit links I have, which included the architect, are underlays. I have a new one. I have to tell it it's an underlay also. I pick OK and OK. And now my piping is going to show up better because the link is an underlay. And if I go to the ground floor, you see the link is an underlay. And if I go to the lower level, the link is an underlay. And if I go to the second floor, the link is an underlay. That view template also said shut off all the not Hydratech, everybody else's grids. So that applied to all three of those views. This sounds like a scary thing, but this view is the original one that we used. I'm going to right click on it and delete it. That took me some getting over. The walls are the walls are the walls, the pipes are the pipes are the pipes, and the views are simply a description of how you want to show that stuff. So deleting a view does not erase anything. It just gets rid of the definition of one way to show that stuff. And since I have a ground floor view now, I didn't need that other original view. Let's stick with the plan here for a little bit more. I'm going to create some ceiling views. And to do that, I'm going to use that same scheme that we used a moment ago. I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to go to Plan Views, and I'm going to go to Reflected Ceiling Plans, and I'm going to make a ground floor ceiling plan, a lower level ceiling plan, and a second floor ceiling plan. So I'm creating those views, and my project browser now has 3 more views in it. I'm going to click on click and shift click to get all 3 of those views picked, and by default it's set the view template to working view. And in here I'm going to go pay attention to those typical things. Under filters, I'm going to make sure that the linked files are not showing. And I'm not going to worry about the other ones for now, but I want to make sure I'm only seeing our grid lines. I'm going to go to the Revit links and say, make those Revit links be underlays. And I'm going to go to the view range. I'm going to go to the view range, which is going to get applied. And I'm going to say it starts at 7'6". That the bottom is 7'6", and it looks up. And I want it to look up to 13'4". And just as an easy starting place, this view depth is how far below the bottom do you want a floor plan to look? Implied is how far above the top do you want this view to look? And for a floor plan, make this the same as the bottom. For a ceiling plan, make this the same as the top. So I'm going to go 13'4". And then I'm going to pick OK and OK. And that sort of cleaned up this ceiling plan. And in cleaning up the ceiling plan, it grayed out the background and it applied that view range, and it did that for all of them. I'm still going to need to crop these. So I'm on the ground floor. I'm going to do that cropping thing again. And I'm going to take that outline and crop it down to where the ground floor goes. I think that's rebar that's making all that noise on the lower level. And I'm going to turn that box off. Then I'm going to go to the lower level. And I saw the rebar on the ground floor. That's because the rebar was between the bottom and the top on the ground floor. Now that I'm on the lower level, I've got a different bottom and I've got a different top, and the rebar is out of the top, so it's not showing up. It's okay. And I'm going to crop it. I'm going to go see what the crop box looks like. I'm on the lower level and I'm cropping the view and I'm showing the crop box. And
Do you have any input if the box is invisible on this one? All of a sudden, I've got one.
Yeah, these two boxes, the crop view and crop region, seem to be fussy about make sure that you're really double clicked on that view in the project browser and then click back in the drafting area and double check that those are both check marked.
Yeah. Just try
Yes?
that.
Also
No,
finding
still no
the
luck on that.
apply helps.
What's that?
I was finding that hitting the apply button at the bottom right of the properties window was
Down
also
here.
helping.
Oh,
So after you check mark these two, pick apply.
Huh. Yeah, all 4 previous crops have worked without error, and then this one, even with the clicking apply.
And then it might have not fully picked up the previous one you just did. So if you like change a view and then like go do that one again, hit apply, and then come to this, I found that was at least kind of getting it out of its stuckness.
All right, try that. Didn't work, but all right. I think mine are gray. Is that
Okay.
typical for a lot of people? My checkmark boxes, they're not blue like ours.
Let's see, lower level, crop. Okay, I think you have more than one view selected. So escape, double click on the second floor plan.
Okay.
And just don't click anything, but verify that crop view is on and crop region is not. Those properties changed. Is that a true statement?
Yes, crop view is on, region is not.
Escape, and double click on ceiling plan, lower level. And now look in that properties box and tell me if they're checked, if they're gray checked, or if they're unchecked. What's up?
They are unchecked.
Okay, and if you check them both, do they turn into dark blue like mine?
Nope, they are still gray, but now it's working.
All right.
My whole platform is kind of more grayed out than yours, though. Could just be a cosmetic setting.
That's possible. Okay, I've cropped my my lower level, and I'm turning that one off. I'm going to the second floor, and I'm going to do my last crop there.
Alan, what was the first application you did to the ceiling plans under the view
View
template?
template. I double checked that the the filters showed just my grid lines, and I double checked that the Revit links were and here over here. I went to filters and made sure that I wasn't showing everybody else's grids. And then I went to Revit links and I made sure both Revit links were underlaid. And then I went to the view range and I double checked that that was going 7'6" to 13'4".
I got it. Thank you.
So if I closed out of the tabs that show all the pages you have open,
Yes,
if I close out of all those and leave just the one I'm trying to work on, the crop box
it
shows up
works
every time.
works better.
Yeah.
And I'm getting lots and lots of those tabs up at the top here. Sooner or later, it actually overruns the space at the top.
Yeah.
It also uses more computer memory. This is such a small project that that's just a point, but it doesn't really affect anything. However, you're working on a big project. If you open lots of views, Revit could eventually slow down because it's trying to keep all that stuff in memory. From time to time, just pick one you want to be working with at the moment, and up at the very top in that quick access toolbar, it happens to be two to the right of where the section line was. It says close inactive views. You see all the tabs I've got? When I pick that button, it closes all of those views. And I'm pretty sure that frees up memory. It says, oh, I don't have to memorize that anymore. I'm back to just looking right now at just that one view. No harm. If I wanted to look at any of the other views, I'll find it in the project browser and reopen it. Handy to be able to switch back and forth between tabs, but if you have too many tabs open, it's confusing that where the one you want is hiding in that long list at the top. Let's stick with the slideshow here. So we created 3 ceiling views. I want to add room tags and ceiling heights. We inserted the architect's background. He should know that stuff. And we inserted the ceilings with the mechanical. It should know that stuff. This is a reminder. It knows it, but the names in the rooms and the heights and the ceilings, those are annotations. We don't get that from the link. We only get the 3D modeled stuff, none of the notes, none of the annotations. So we've got to put them back in. Oh, good. We can put them back in. We can make them the size and the color and the location we want instead of having to accept the huge text that the architect wants to brag about the room names with. So I'm going to use these ceiling plans, all 3 of them, to identify the room names and the ceiling heights. Temporarily, I have to go get this in like architect mode or something so that I can recognize those rooms and ceilings. And I can do that simply by taking my 3 ceiling plans, switching the template to ceiling setup. I've already established the view range. So this is the first time I'm using this new template. I'm going to tell it, don't mess with the view range. I've already set that. Don't use this template to change it again. And I think that's enough. If I go to setup and I turn off view range, you can see how the rooms are dark and the ceilings are dark. It's in a good position now to recognize the room numbers and the room names. So I'm going to escape, and click back in this view. I'm on the second floor ceiling plan, and I'm going to go to annotate, and I'm going to click on tag all. And it says, well, I could tag the pipes, I could tag the pipe accessories, models, all kinds of stuff. I'm interested in ceilings and in room tags. And I want to, by default, it says use the room tag with condensed, and it says with number. And I want ceiling tags, and those are condensed. So if using smaller text than the architect would likely use. And I'm going to say I want to tag stuff not just in my project, but also in the linked project. And when I pick OK, boom, I get all of those things. I'm going to pick a window around a room tag and a ceiling tag. I'm going to right click and say select all instances in the view. And then I'm just going to use the up and down arrow to move them down. This isn't a legitimate cleanup, but it does a lot of things in a hurry, and I'm not going to take the time to really clean them all up, but I wanted to show you a quick get started way to do this. So now I reselected just the ceiling height, and I'm going to say get all the ceiling heights in the view and move them to the left. All right. You're still going to be responsible for moving a lot of these things one at a time yourself. A way to do that, though, is I've got all these red X's, so it's not picking stuff I don't want. However, if I uncheck the last one that says drag elements on selection, I could pick this ceiling height and just move it. I could pick this ceiling height and just move it. So that's way faster than clicking on it and saying move and say start here and go there. It's kind of doing it all in one shot. All right. But I do have room number or room names, and I have room names and I have ceiling heights. If the underwriter or the authority having jurisdiction insists not just on names but numbers, this tag that Hydrotech created includes a type property that says show the room number, and that's information that it knows that we can add to what it's displaying. That I'm going to go for not using extra room if I don't need to. And then I could change them to say ordinary group 1, 2, or 3. And I could also, this is neat, if you put that on, it tells you this room is 156 square feet, and this one's 156 square feet, and this one's 232 square feet. And again, I'm going to go turn that back off.
It knows the different hazards for each room?
No, it doesn't. It displays depending on what I told it. So this room, for instance, is not light hazard. It's ordinary group 1. So this one, I'm going to change to a tag that calls it ordinary group 1.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
And again, this is typical stuff. I can click that and that and that. I'm holding the shift down to select them all, and then I could change them all to ordinary group 1. So it's pretty efficient to report what you're planning to design to. And that ceiling height, that one's interesting. Stairs, I wanted to be light hazard. And that one got out of the room, so it didn't say. All right. Let's stick with the plan. I'm not going to go do that on the lower level and the second floor, but you see how that goes. That's room tags and ceiling heights. Again, the architect put dimensions on the building, but those are notes. Those are annotations. They didn't come in with the link. If I want to add them, I would do them here. Let me see if I might have expected to find a few more grid lines, but I'll I'll dimension these grid lines. So there's a tool called Aligned Dimension. This is the first time I'm using this in earnest. I want to describe a little bit about the dimensioning tool while I'm at it. So if I pick this, it's looking for me to pick lines that are parallel to each other. So the first one defines perpendicular to that grid line. So I can pick another grid line, another grid line. I'm going to accidentally miss this grid line and go down to that one. Now, even though I missed that one, I can go back and click on it, and you see it changes it. I could say, oh, I didn't really want this one, so I could click on it and it would take it out. That's just cool. But every time you pick something, it adds a dimension to that something that you picked. To get out of this, you don't hit escape, you don't hit enter. Those are AutoCAD things. You click on nothing. If I click on nothing down here, the dimension line is going to be down there. If I click on nothing here, the dimension line is going to be there. So I put a dimension across there, and it's got those things that I want. If I wanted to go from this column line to the wall, to the wall, to the wall, to the wall, and then to this column line, I can get back into that by clicking on that string of dimensions and click on Edit Witness Line. And now I could add that wall, that wall, that wall, and that wall. And then click on nothing. Or is there, no, I think click on nothing. And we're good. If I wanted this dimension to be the left side of the wall, not the center of the wall, this grip just extends or shortens the witness line. This one determines what you're dimensioning to. And if I don't want the center of the wall, but I hover over the wall and I hit tab, it gets me the different parts of the wall. So now I'm dimensioning to the inside of the mechanical wall. If I wanted a dimension to the other side of the wall, I could go back to Edit Dimension Line, and I could hover over this wall and hit Tab, and now I'm getting an extra dimension. Click on nothing. I got an extra dimension for the width of that wall. If I click on the text, I can move the text around. And once the text gets far enough off, it puts a leader. 2 inches doesn't, that doesn't make it for me. That wants to be tab, that side of the wall. So 4.5 inches is the width of that wall. And I'm going to take that text and move it over there. Okay, so more that you can play with. You could Google a YouTube of dimensioning in Revit and get some more background on the dimensioning, but that works for most of the things you're going to want to dimension.
What was it under? I'm sorry. What was it under modified that you got your dimension?
Go mess with it again. Yep. I clicked on the dimension line, and that brought up the modify, and it was edit witness lines.
Okay, but how did you get the dimension lines to begin with?
Sorry. I started on the quick access toolbar because dimensioning is something you do a lot. And I picked on the button that said aligned dimension.
Got it, thank you.
Which is also on annotate over here. It says aligned. Linear makes way more sense to me. It's a nice square dimension. Since it just seems like everybody uses aligned, and aligned works the way you want it to. So use aligned. If Google the linear one if you want it, or hit F1 and research that. But I found aligned does pretty much everything I want to do. One thing I guess I got to warn you about, in AutoCAD, you can dimension from this point in space to that point in space to that point in space. In Revit, it says, no. dimensions are to things. So you can't just go pick willy-nilly any old place in the world. When you use a line, the first thing you pick has got a it's got a line, and your dimension is now perpendicular to that. And every other object you pick has got to have a parallel line in it that's parallel to that first object that you picked. So if I wanted up and down dimensions, I don't have horizontal and vertical dimensions. I just pick aligned again, and I pick on a horizontal thing, and now I'm doing horizontal dimensions. And I can't pick on a vertical thing. I can only go from horizontal to horizontal to horizontal. So the first thing you pick is important. It determines which way that dimension is going. And every other thing you pick has got to have a line in it that's parallel to that first thing that you picked. Okay, back here. Now, we have views. We have no sprinkler system, and ugh, we've used up more than 2/3 of our time, and we don't even have a sprinkler system to mess with yet. Rather than redraw the sprinkler system, I'm going to go get the kickoff meeting project and copy and paste the piping out of it into this project. And then I'm going to go to the first lesson project, and I'm going to copy and paste the piping out of it. So first thing I'm going to do is close all the other views so I don't get confused. I'm going to have 2 projects open, and I want to know who's who. On the kickoff meeting, I did stuff on the second floor. So I'm on a second floor view. I could go to also, I changed all of these ceiling plans. I changed them all to setup. That made them architectural. I'm going to go click all 3 of those again and switch this thing back to ceiling sprinkler layout. This is the first time I think that I used this template. So I'm going to double check that my Revit links have got these guys shaded. I'm going to check that my filters are leaving out the other grids. And I'm going to double check that the view range does not get reset. And then I'm going to pick OK. And cool. I could picture myself laying out sprinklers in this view because I can see the lights and the diffusers and stuff, and I can see the room names. So I'd be happy with that. In spite of being behind in time, I just want to show you it would be really easy now that I have Revit backgrounds. It's easier than when we had AutoCAD backgrounds to lay out the sprinklers. Don't do this because I'm going to do it and undo it anyway. But I'm going to go to HydroCAD spacing and layout, and I'm going to tell it I'm just doing sprinklers, so don't do all the pipes, and I'm doing pendant sprinklers, and I want to go 2 foot by 2 foot tiles, and I want to put recessed pendant sprinklers in here. Then the piping stuff doesn't count for anything. Now that I have a Revit background, I can pick a light or I can pick a grid. When we had the AutoCAD background, we had to pick 3 points. You can do it in a Revit background. Sometimes the architect doesn't lay out the grid the way we would lay out the grid or define the room the way we would. But I'm just going to use pick light. I'm going to pick on that light, and it found the extents of the ceiling that light was in, and it proposed a layout for me. I'm going to hit escape and insert sprinkler because the green button wasn't showing. I'm going to pick that light. I'm going to move that sprinkler over this way. I'm going to move it up there, and now 7 foot 6.5 is good enough for me. I'm going to leave that one there. Then I'm going to pick this light, and I'll move it up to match that other one and pick this light. That one's fine where it is. And then I'm going to pick this light, pick OK, pick that light, pick OK. You see where I'm going, and that's pretty quick.
Real quick, when you're moving them from grid to grid, are you just using your arrow keys?
Um, no, I'm not. I'm using the click button. Let me do another one. Um,
I was trying to catch that on Tuesday and how you were.
okay, pick light. I'm in here.
Yeah.
So if I want to move the whole row up and down, I want to move both of these sprinklers. I pick at this tick mark. If I pick north of the tick mark, it moves 2 feet north.
Okay. Sweet.
And
Thank
then
you.
south of the tick mark moves the whole row south. If I want this one north and this one south, I don't want to move the whole row, then I just pick near the sprinkler, north of the sprinkler, and it moves just that one.
Hmm.
The 2 feet, it's moving 2 feet. The 2 feet comes from
Right.
in here, adjustment 2 feet at a time.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
So, and thanks for asking, because if you don't know that, you say, yeah, that's okay, but then I got to go back and nudge them around and move them and stuff. We tried to make it as sweet as we could. I'm going to select all those sprinklers in the view, and I'm going to delete them because I did that the other day, and I'm going to go borrow that from the other day. So the slide says, open the kickoff project, use WW to select all the pipes there, switch back to the second floor, and then paste aligned to the current view. Just plain paste would ask you, where do you want to do it? And then you'd have to try and figure out, how do I get this lined up with that? There is a feature in Revit that says, wherever it was in that view, make it be in this view. So,
Alan, real quick, this is
yeah,
Michael. I'm not
yes, sir.
seeing the lights on my plan for some reason.
Okay, so double check. You're in a ceiling plan, is that true?
Yes.
And double check that the view template you have set up says FP working ceiling sprinkler layout.
Okay, I have two of them. LP working ceiling.
Yeah, and
I'm on the I'm on the
page two.
bottom. Maybe
Try
that's
try
why.
the top one. I don't know what the bottom one. I don't know what the bottom one is.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that fixed it. I don't know why there
okay,
was two, but I was on the wrong one. Okay, thank you.
you bet.
Alan, can you explain why? Because I was having the same issue. I had to switch the view template back to the working ceiling sprinkler layout. Can you show
Yep,
why that was hiding the lights? Because when I was looking at that setup template, it didn't like it still had the Revit links
yep.
check marks.
Um,
Like why is it
I'm gonna
not showing?
legitimate question, and thanks for holding my feet to that fire. I'm gonna go to um, where does that come from? View. I'm choking. There's a place that view templates show up. I think it's in view, and there's a place to define view templates. Nuts. Manage.
On the left, next to modify,
It
on the
was
view
on
tab,
view.
all the way left.
Oh, okay. Um, so I'm going to manage view templates. So this is all of the view templates here, and the ceiling has got just not enough room for me to there. Okay, so I made this dialog box. One says ceiling layout, and the other one says sprinkler layout. That just I'm apologizing. I screwed up and put in the view template in the toolbox two with almost the same name. That's bad. I shouldn't have done that. Um, this one, however, the one that was giving you trouble, the second one, doesn't have that dash in it. That's why you can't have two with exactly the same name, but that one doesn't have a dash. And if I go to override model objects, I'm thinking, or I'm hoping, that when I get down to lighting fixtures, that would be turned off, and it's not. Um, so in here is, I can see the name and I can see the stuff that it's doing. And I think I'm gonna make a note about that so I can study it. 2 templates.
Could be like a work set or a view range or something.
There's
No,
100 reasons.
Phase.
The
my
reason
issue
we
was
made the view
uh,
templates is so we don't have to sort that out every time. Oh, there's this setting or that setting. We put them all together as a bunch of settings.
So I'm trying to select the lights now, but it's not letting me. It's only letting me select diffusers. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a diffuser. Thank.
But you can also pick ceiling, and then you can pick on the ceiling grid.
Okay.
I'll take that in the corner and beat it up. I'll let you know next Tuesday what I find. So for now, just use that first one, and we'll be good. What was I about to do? Go get piping. So I'm gonna make sure I have only this one view in this project open. Then I'm gonna do File, Open, and I'm gonna go up one level. So I'm in CHES Revit Training, and I sent you the kickoff meeting. So I'm going to open the kickoff meeting. And if you get stuck waiting for an update, you'll have to live with waiting for the update. But when you're done, do a file save as so that if you open it again, you don't have to wait the next time. And I'm going to go to the ground floor. And the ground floor has got a lot of stuff going on here, but that lot of stuff includes all of my pipes that I did and I've got the second floor here and I've got the ground floor here. That's where my pipes are. I don't even have oh no, here's a second floor plan. I do have that. So this second floor plan has got my pipes. Did the ground floor plan have pipes? Yeah, it did, but they're the second floor pipes. Sorry, I'm just telling you. I did these pipes on the kickoff meeting on the second floor. I didn't do any on the ground floor. The ground floor view range needs to get adjusted. I'm going to use the walker here. The walker, I'm going to pick on a pipe. And that just selected all of the pipes that are connected together. And I'm going to make a 3D view of that. And that's all of the pipes that I did. For whatever reason, it's my selection set stopped at that elbow. I'm going to do the walker a second time and pick on that pipe that's going down. And then I'm going to try 3D view again. Okay, so that's all the piping that I did a week ago Tuesday in my demo. And I've selected all that piping, and I'm going to use modify. And there's a button way on the left under the clipboard that says copy to the clipboard. So I'm taking those pipes, those fittings, those sprinklers, and I'm copying them to the clipboard. Then I'm going to the second floor. I've switched projects. Now I'm back in the project that we created this morning with the Revit link. And I'm going to say modify. And under paste, I can say paste. If I say paste from the clipboard, it's going to say, okay, pick a point and I'll go put it there. If I say pick aligned to current view, then it's pasting those objects from that clipboard into this project. And now today's project has got all those pipes in it lined up with that view from the a week ago. I'm going to click on close all other views. And that leaves me with just this one view in my project and just this one view in the kickoff project. I'm going to close that and don't save. I suppose if you did an update, you close that and save. But now my project has got piping from a week ago Tuesday.
You pulled all that off the second floor plan, right?
I made sure I was on the second floor so that when I said paste to current view, I was pasting second floor stuff to the second floor.
Okay, mine was updating that whole time, so.
Alan, you're gonna have to go through that again. That was a little too quick. Sorry.
Let me do it. I can come back and do it again for the kickoff meeting, but it needs to be done for the for what we did last Tuesday. It's the same thing, just a different file. So follow me. I'll go slower and slow me down if you get lost at all during this next one. But then we can come back and you can get the second floor stuff in there also. So right now, in this project, there is a 3D view, and the 3D view, I can't see my pipes because the building is on. I went to that 3D fire protection view, and I'm going to apply a view template, working 3D, and in working 3D, I'm going to make sure that the Revit links are see-throughable or underlays, and now I can see that the project we created has got a 3D building, and it's got views of the 3D building, and it's got piping for the second floor. All right, the do it again is I've closed the kickoff meeting, and all of this is the exact same thing, except it's for the ground floor instead of the second floor. So we're going to make sure that the only view that I have open in my project, I picked close all other views, is the ground floor. I'm going to do that again. Let's go to a ground floor ceiling plan, and I'm going to close all the other views. So all I've got open here is a ceiling view of the ground floor, and there's no piping in it. You're with me?
Correct.
Okay. Then I'm going to open the end of Tuesday's project. So I'm going to go File, Open, and CHES Intermediate Training. I sent out Lesson 1, End of Day. Can you find that? That's one of those two files I put special in the folder for you to download to use for today.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm picking open. And you can have two Word documents open, you can have two Excel files open, you can have two Revit files open at the same time. So long as you use the same Revit, so long as you use the same Revit application to have both of them open, it's one Revit looking at two different projects. So I now have ground floor today's project, and I have ground floor Tuesday's project. Still with me?
Unfortunately, though, yours is in 2023.
And you are?
Oh, I'm doing 2022 right now.
Yeah, that I can't. That one you're gonna have to punt on. That is unfortunate. Let me think for a moment.
I'll have to catch up on the video. It's fine, or the re-recording.
I can. So you have to be able to open it in order to be able to input to it. I think I can go back to Go back to C, HES, Revit training, intermediate. Archive 20-1, lesson 2, start of day, lesson 2, end of day. I'm going to copy this. How do I know that's Revit 2022? And I'm going to put it here. So the same folder I gave you access to this morning, right in, I shouldn't put it there. I should put it in documents. Okay, so there's a lesson 2 end of day. I'm saying a Revit 2022 file. If you download that and open it, you'll have lots of sprinklers.
Thank you. I apologize.
Okay, so I now have 2 projects open. One that's a ground floor with nothing in it, and one that's a ground floor with piping on the ground floor. I'm going to do a walker, HydroCAD walker, or type WW, pick on one pipe. I'm going to do a 3D view so I get an idea of what pipe it is. Sure enough, I've got underground, I've got a riser manifold, and I've got piping on the ground floor. This is mostly where we ended up at the end of Tuesday. I cheated and kind of filled in the rest of the sprinklers. So these sprinklers weren't there. The ones on the ends of the lines weren't there. I went and filled them in last night and posted it so we'd have a more complete ground floor plan. And then I'm going to do the modify, copy to the clipboard, and then I'm going to go back to the ground floor in our project, and I'm going to say modify, and under paste, I'm going to say paste to the current view. And it says the current view has got a generic material poach, and that one had poach, and I don't care about it. I'm going to say okay, do whatever you want with poach.
I'm sorry to throw a wrench in here, but the zero kickoff demo you had us open up, when I opened it up, there's no building, there's no 3D model, there's nothing. It's just pipe. So I guess my files are not lined up with yours.
Interesting. Is that true for everybody or just for you, Josh?
Uh,
No, I had the same thing, but I just selected the pipe anyways.
And did you get just the pipe, or did you get the
Oh,
pipe?
I got everything. Yeah, the entire
got
system.
everything.
Yeah.
So try that, Josh. Try the walker on one of those pieces of pipe that you do see. And if you do the walker, I'm thinking you could do a 3D view of it and convince yourself you got more than just a pipe.
well, I'm clicking Walker and then I'm clicking the 3D view and I'm not seeing the whole system.
You're only gonna. That's the only one level though.
Let me make you the presenter, Josh. Because it sounds like you're not the only one that had that problem. Huh.
The end of day, right? That's what your intent was?
This one's the kickoff meeting, right? So do the walker and pick on one of those pipes. And do you see it stopped at that elbow, the pipe going down it didn't get?
Mm-hmm.
Just do the walker again. Don't hit escape. Don't hit enter. Just pick the walker again and pick on that up and down pipe.
It just killed it.
No.
So if I go to HydroCAD, I've got everything selected. I click on Walker again, correct?
Yep. And then pick on the vertical pipe.
Okay, it just seems like it's deselecting. Okay, there we go.
It's making you pick again.
It's tricking me.
Yeah. And now pick the section box or type BX so that you see all of what you picked.
Okay.
There's a 3D pic. There's a 3D box of all the stuff you
And
picked.
it just looks like mine doesn't have the backflow preventer or any of that stuff. So
And it doesn't, because in the kickoff meet, this is the kickoff meeting. I didn't do that.
okay.
So now do modify and copy. Or the copy button on the modify that says
Gotcha.
copy to clipboard, then switch back to your second floor view.
So click the copy button right here that I'm hovering over.
There's two different copy buttons, and that's the wrong one.
This one right here.
That's the one under clipboard. So you're copying it to the clipboard.
Okay.
And now switch back to the second floor in our project. And now click the modify ribbon.
Paste from clipboard.
And under paste to current, not paste, but paste to align to current view.
Okay.
Okay, now close all unused views. Did
Inactive
we?
views?
Yes, close inactive views.
Okay.
And now close that 3D view. That's all that's left of the other project. And now switch to the ground floor in this project. How about you've got a ground floor plan?
Like I said, I think the first file you opened up was the kickoff meeting, and that's where I've just been sat on. So,
Yep.
like you said, you didn't
You're
have
doing
any.
fine.
Okay.
Yep, you're doing fine. But now I see a home for our other class files. Do the close all the inactive views and do file open with the end of lesson 1 file, that one. And I think this is worthwhile here, Josh. This is more representative of what the majority of the class is seeing, not what I was doing, because I was on 23. It was 23. It just opened.
Yeah.
So you're opening that 23 thing that I sent, and you'll need to let it do this update. But we'll still get, once it's updated, the pipes will be updated, and we'll be able to grab them out of there. The other thing that we'll be able to illustrate, I think, is that it may whine at you about, oh, I couldn't find the backgrounds.
Ignore.
Just ignore that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I see ground floor piping on this ground floor view. So do the walker on that. And use that selection box to make sure it looks legitimate. Yeah. So this does have the backflow. You see, Josh?
Yeah. So this is the correct model.
Right.
So then I can do the copy to clipboard.
Yep.
Okay. And then I'll switch back. And then I can go to modify again, and then I'll do paste to align to current view.
Yep. And you see that one little pipe sticking out from the second floor?
I do. And do I just hit OK on this? So it says there's.
Yeah. This just says there's some stuff in what you're copying that's the same as stuff where you're copying it to.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. And then I just close inactive again.
Yep. And close that other project.
The 3D. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. I think we're just going to have to accept. We're not going to make the other 50 slides, but we're doing. I think we're doing terrific here. This is really, really important stuff. How do you start from scratch with a Revit project? And we didn't want to have to go draw the sprinkler system a second time to see that. This was a shortcut. you may not use for a while, but it's pretty handy to know. And then I'm going to make me the presenter again.
Just to be clear, we're supposed to have the ground floor from yesterday and the second floor from the kickoff in our
You've got
drawings.
that's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm on the ground floor now in my project. I'm going to close all the other views and close this guy. Do you want to save? No. All right. And then I want to switch back here. So we've got, I'm not sure what I have to do to show this. Maybe I'll come back and show that we have both floors worth of piping. But it says we're going to do some cleanup. I've got second floor stuff that needs to get connected into the ground floor stuff. I've got valves and stuff on the ground floor. I'm going to put a set of valves and stuff to feed the second floor, like this is two different systems. And then we're going to create a default 3D view of all of that stuff. And I think we'll do it with the walker again. So if we go to the ground floor floor plan, do you see that this pipe that's coming down from the second floor? I'm going to right click on that pipe, click it, right click on it, and say create similar. That's the same as typing PI to start a pipe command, but it makes it 3-inch, it makes it 11'4", and it makes it mains welded, and it's part of this the wet system. And I'm going to just click where I left off before. I'm going to click over along that riser manifold, and then I'm going to click on top of that riser manifold. And now I've got two different sort of riser pipes tying into that riser manifold. And now I'm going to create a section view so that I can do some cleanup on that riser manifold. So I'm going to use the quick access toolbar with the button that looks like a section line, and I'm going to click left to right through that sprinkler room. I'm going to take, it's like my thing wanted to make the section go through the whole rest of the building. I'm going to drag it back so it's pretty much just the rest of that little room. And then also, because this tail is a nuisance in the picture that we've got, I'm going to pick that little circle to make the section still go there, but I'm not showing that tail over there. And then I'm going to escape, 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 and double click on that section line. So I want to get this stuff kind of duplicated over here. And there's probably a couple of ways to do that. The one I'm going to do is pull this fitting up off of there. It's going to be easier to reconnect stuff if I'm not trying to, if I'm trying to connect a pipe to a pipe, or if I'm trying to connect a pipe to a pipe. When you go to connect a pipe to a fitting, the fitting has, especially couplings, has two connectors, and they're really close to each other, so it can get confused which one it wants to do. I'm also going to get rid of this connection so that when I drag the pipe on it, it redoes that connection. And to do that, I'm clicking on it, and I'm going to go to HydroCAD, connect pipes, and there's a button for disconnect pipes, and that got rid of that fitting and put the pipe back together. Now I'm going to pick a window that includes my riser and my couplings and all that stuff, and I'm just going to take that, a pipe, and all my riser stuff in a pipe, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to copy it from a place on that first pipe. I was kind of hoping I would get it to line up with that existing pipe, and it's not, so I'm just going to get close. So now I have a copy of it, and then I'm going to say I'm gonna cut myself some slack and just use the arrow keys to move that over some more so that there's plenty of room to get the drain piping. I could rotate it. There's another way to do that, but this will make me happy enough. And then I'm going to get this one to line up with that one. And the way to do that is click on either one, and on the modify ribbon that comes up in the modify panel, there's a button that says align. And this is Revit, so it's kind of the backwards. In my mind, I want to say align this to that. But in Revit, they say align to this, align that. So I'm picking align, and I'm saying to this riser pipe, align the overhead pipe. And now that I've done that, those two are lined up. I can pick this pipe and drag it onto that pipe. And I can take this pipe at the bottom, I'm clicking on it, and drag its end onto the riser manifold. And when you do that, you're changing that pipe. The pipe redraws itself, and it says, "Oh, I can connect right to that that valve, and I can connect right to that valve." So the couplings happen to disappear. I can just pick coupling, manual coupling, and put one above and put one below, and then I'm going to use delete pipe that James and I had trouble with, but now I can just pick on the pipe, or I can pick on the valve and then the coupling, and I'll pick on this valve and that coupling, and that takes those couplings and matches them back up. So anyone have questions or problems getting that thing wired up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not able to keep up with you, but I think that's just going to be how it is throughout this.
How about you, Tom? Any trouble there?
My only thing was how do you join the two systems together?
Let's see. Control ZZ, cancel. There, I'm back here, and
Yep.
this thing was over here. So if I tried to drag this pipe onto that pipe, it's going to go a little crazy trying to go on an angle. So my first thing was to get these lined up.
Mhm.
Pick on an object, any object. That gets you the modify ribbon. And on the modify ribbon, I'm clicking align, and I want to align to this, that.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Yep.
Then you can pick either one of these pipes and drag the end onto the other end.
Okay.
And
I
then
tried
this
to,
one. Question?
which button is align? Like,
It's,
I'm in
yep,
modify, I just don't see which one.
I'm on the modify ribbon, the modify panel, and this is the button that says align.
Okay.
And it's backwards. To this, align that. And then I went to couplings, add manual couplings. Above and below are assembly, and then I did delete pipe. And this time I got a nice long pipe. I can pick on the bottom half of the pipe. And if I zoom in, I can pick on the top half of that pipe. So one click gets my couplings moved into place. You would be tempted to maybe copy this stuff over, but you can't copy something that's connected to another place and get it connected. That's why I left that fitting behind, and I got this pipe and I got that pipe, and then reconnected the pipes. That's pretty easy to do. Okay. Just this slide's just a review. We used view templates a lot already, and I just want to say a view template is a way of predefining lots of stuff. For starters, it's redefining all the layers, all the categories that you want on, all the categories you want off. But it also can define and enforce the view range. Once you've got your views set up and the view range has been set, you probably, future use of view templates wants to uncheck view range so that you don't reset the view range. It sets the visibility graphics, the discipline, the subdiscipline, the whether it's shown as shaded or single line or double line, whether the scale is set to 1/8 scale or whatever. All of those things are settings for a view that can be defined and enforced by a view template. Once you assign a view template, that view behaves according to the setting in that view template. And if you change the view template, you're changing the settings for that view. Um, you could conceivably use the view template to get the view started. Then you could switch the template to none, and then nothing would be locked, and you could change anything. I've just found it very useful. I found it annoying initially, and I want to say after my initial annoyance, I've got to appreciate when I fix something in one view. If that view template is assigned to 5 views, I like the idea that I'm fixing it for all 5 views at the same time. So I leave the view template in place and I adjust the view template. If something in the view template is enforcing something like the scale that you want to change on one of the views, you can adjust the view template by unchecking scale and say, don't bother enforcing that. I like everything else, but don't enforce that. Everybody feel pretty good about view templates? I'll leave it. Okay, so we're up to the beginning of day 2. And I'm going to make a noble effort and get as far through the documentation that is intended for lesson 2 here. So we've got a model, but we've got to get it dressed up so we can get it on a piece of paper. So this is an example of the pieces of paper that we're trying to generate from this model. And nothing for it but to get started. So I do have 2 more major topics. Getting the stuff on sheets. If we get through that, that'd be fantastic. And then I had some more modeling stuff to share with you. How to do slope pipe, how to do a pump room, how to do a standpipe. If we can get through the blue slides here, I think we'll be doing good for today. And we can move those yellow slides to the beginning of tomorrow. So let me get a title block, get some plan views, put those plan views on the title block, and then we can take sections and put them on the title block. We can put 3D views and put them on the title block, and we'll get those title blocks, then those sheets, and we'll plot them out. All right. The first one is pretty straightforward. I need some sheets to plot my drawings on, and our template contributed some sheets. I'm going to go use the 24 by 36. That's smaller than usual, but this is kind of a small project, and I don't want it to just all fit on one sheet. I want to kind of illustrate what it takes when you have multiple sheets. So I'm going to use 24 by 36. I'm going to fill out most of the information on the 24 by 36 inch sheet we've got, and then I'm going to copy it 4 more times. So I have a sheet for the lower level, one for the ground floor, one for the second floor, and one for sections and details. And the first one can be for a cover sheet. So we'll have 5 sheets altogether. Let me get that set up. Over here, we've been paying attention in the project browser to all of our views. I'm going to go check out that the project browser has some sheets. I'm going to go to the 24 by 36 inch sheet, which is a 24 by 36 inch title block. And I'm going to go fill out stuff on the title block. I'm going to make the sheet number be FP-1 instead of sheet 2. And then I'm going to respell 1 with a number instead of the letter Q. I'm going to make the owner be class 25-02. That's us. And I'm going to make the project name be small medical facility. And I'm going to make the name of this sheet FP Plans and Details. Okay, so I kind of filled out stuff on the title block. There's more stuff, the project number, the date, the author, and stuff. Not going to bother with that now. I just wanted to show you that I can fill out information on that sheet. Then I can go over to Sheets and say Duplicate Sheet, duplicate with detailing. It made it FP2 and it made it Plans and Details Copy 1. I'm going to change Copy 1 to just Plans and Details. Maybe Plans and Details lower level. All right, then I'm going to take this one and duplicate it. And I'm going to make this one, that's FP3, and I'm going to make that Plans and Details Ground Floor.
And this makes it FP1 copy 1.
Yeah, so after I duplicated it, I changed its name. I'm going to do it again. I'm taking my FP3 and I'm saying duplicate sheet with detailing. So it says, there's the copy 1 I think you're talking about.
No, my see here says FP4. Mine just comes in FP1 1. Sheet name, first digits.
Mine added a 1 in parentheses after the sheet number.
Yeah, exactly. Mine too. Yep.
Huh. Let me.
And my Plans and Details did not add the copy.
So Nathan, let me make you the presenter, and you might be our representative of what's happening more than once here. Are you sure? Yep. So let me have you share your screen. Don't share Revit, but share the screen. And what version are you using? That
20, I'm in 25 right now.
okay, could have changed, but we'll work it out anyway.
But this is my copy. I right clicked on this one and just said duplicate sheet with sheet detailing, and this is what I got here.
Okay. So tough noogies. Click on the where it says FP1 parentheses 1 over in the title block and erase the change that to FP2. They're trying to be helpful and guess what it should increment to, and if they don't do a good job, it's on us to just fix it. So we can make that one be FP3.
Yeah, easy fix. It's odd this one reacted different than yours did.
And for right now, I want to blame that on version 23 and version 25. That it's a place that I know that Revit has done some tweaking, and
fair enough.
They thought they had a better way to increment that number for you. All right, I'm going to take the control back here. And share my screen. All right, so I'm up to second floor. And whether you change the name or not, it's not critical anyway, but I'm going to change ground to second floor. And one more time, duplicate sheet, duplicate with detailing, and FP5 is going to become sections and details. I already said details once, so sections. All right, so I have 5 sheets. That was the point of this slide, to say you don't have to do them all at once, but we just kind of got into the groove and we made sheets that we're planning to fill up. If I didn't have enough, I could come back and add another one. If I have too many, I can delete one. So now this is the Revit trick. I hope I can get you to just say, okay, Al, you've been doing this long enough. We're going to take your word for it. This is what we got to do. Revit has a character that says ceiling plans will let you see the bottom of the ceiling. Floor plans will let you only see the top of the ceiling. And the way the ceiling objects were created the grid is on the bottom of the ceiling and the top doesn't show a grid. So if you're in a ceiling plan, you'll see the ceiling grids. If you're in a floor plan, you will not see the ceiling grids. For 100 years, sprinkler people have been drawing the ceiling grids, and then they've been drawing their pipe on top of that. And then they've been drawing the pipe as we're looking down on the pipe. So you get a clamshell that shows 3/4 of the way open with a line into it. That line is at the top. If you're looking up, the clamshell would have the pipe coming out the side, not into the edge. That clamshell would be backwards. So you're stuck. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. If you plot ceiling plans, all your riser symbols are going to be wrong. If you plot floor plans, you can't see the ceiling tile. Deal with it. And I'm going to tell you how to deal with it. The way we're going to deal with it is we're going to get a ceiling plan that has nothing on it except for ceiling grids. And we're going to put that on a sheet. Then we're going to get a floor plan that has all the pipe drawn exactly the way it's supposed to. All the riser nipples will show up the way they're supposed to. And we're going to take that floor plan and put it over the top of that ceiling grid. And then the approval authority and the installer will not know the trick that we used to make that happen. They'll just think we did it the way we've done it for the last 100 years. But it's a required Revit thing. There are 1 or 2 workarounds for that. I have been beat up to the point of saying, okay, damn it, if you've got to have it all in one place, there's a way to do it. It takes longer than it should. Please, at least for the first 2 jobs, accept that I've come up with the best workaround for that. That's what I'm about to show you. So for each ceiling plan, we're going to make sure it's cropped. We already did that. We're going to duplicate the view, and we're going to change the view template. The duplicate will have sort of a funny name. So we're going to go to the original one and apply FP plot ceiling as the view template for each of those ceiling plans. So I'm going to go to ceiling plan, right click, duplicate view, duplicate. Lower level, right click, duplicate view, duplicate. Second floor, right click, duplicate view, duplicate. So I have 6 ceiling plans, not 3. But I'm going to take the ones with the original names. I'm clicking and control clicking to select those 3 ceiling plans. And I'm going to change the view template from FP working to FP plot. And then I'm going to open up the ground floor. Look at that. Nothing but ceiling grids. And I'm telling you, deal with it. I'm going to turn off that ugly box. Here's the lower level. There's hardly any ceilings in the lower level. That's why that's mostly empty. And here's the second floor. And that's the one where we put the room tags and the ceiling heights on. And that doesn't have the ugly box. So that was setting up our 3 ceiling plans. We're getting around the problem that if we tried to put the pipe in the ceiling plan, the riser nipple symbols are all going to be backwards. So the next thing says add room tags and ceiling heights, and then add them to the sheets. Well, good for us. We added, at least for the second floor, we added the room heights, the ceiling heights and the room names before. So I'm going to drag each of those views onto its appropriate sheet. And when I do, I'll get a little title that says the name of that view. Since I'm going to have another view on top of it, I'm going to switch that thing so it doesn't show the title. The floor plan will show the title. So I'm going to do this step next. I'm going to go to the lower level sheet, the lower level title block, and I'm going to grab from the project browser, I'm going to grab the lower level plot view of the ceiling, and I'm going to drag that onto my sheet. And this is the title that I'm saying. I'm going to put another view on top, and it has a title. I don't want duplicates. So over here in the properties box, it says viewport without a title. So I've still got my ceiling. I just don't have an extra title to go with it. Then I'm going to go to the ground floor sheet, and I'm going to grab the ground floor and pull it onto that sheet. And then I'm going to go make that have no title. And then I'm going to go to the second floor sheet. And I think this is true for all of us. You see the little box in front of the name turned blue to tell us that view has been put on a sheet. So now I'm on sheet FP4, second floor, and I'm going to take the second floor view and drag it onto that sheet also and get rid of the title. Okay. So the next thing says we're going to go like we created copies of the ceiling plans. We're going to create copies of the floor plans. Those copies are going to be used specifically for plotting. For each of the floor plans, we're going to make sure it's cropped. We did that before. We're going to duplicate the view, and we're going to select all three of them and apply FP plot floor. So those views will be specifically for plotting. Let me go back, and here's our three ceiling plans. I'm going to click, right click, duplicate view. If I put any tags or anything, I want to get that. That's with detailing. Lower level, duplicate view with detailing. Second floor, duplicate view with detailing. And then I'm going to take the original names. Those are nicer names than the copy one, copy one, copy one guys. And I'm going to take those three views and apply a different view template. And this different view template is going to be FP plot floor. I think this is the first time I'm using this view template, so I'm going to make sure I'm not applying the view range. I'm going to make sure the Revit links are underlaid, and I'm going to make sure that the filters include don't show the other guy's grids. And so now I have three ceiling plans down here under plot, and I have three floor plans down here under plot. And on this slide, it says now we're going to dress those sheets up. We're going to add center to center dimensions and add them to the sheets. Actually, center to center dimensions. We want to clean up those dimensions. We want to add pipe elevations and pipe dimensions, and then we're going to drag them onto the sheets. I'll get that fancy with just the second floor, and I'll just sort of mock up the ground floor and the lower level while we're at it. So back here, I'm going to go to the second floor plot view, and you see it made the pipes red. The ground floor should have red pipes. That's part of the view template to say override the color and the line weight. And I'll just point that out and keep going. So floor plan, second floor, I haven't pulled onto a sheet yet. I want pipe dimensions on this, and I want building dimensions on this, and I want above finished floor dimensions on this. So the pipe dimensions I get by doing a walker. And then I'm going to go to the HydroCAD ribbon and click on tag pipe, or I could have just picked TP. And I want to put center to center dimensions on this plan. And the walker, by having walkered the pipe, it knows what's an up and what's a down. If I just use user selection, up and downs are just marked by their length, but not their direction. So I'm going to leave that. And I'm also going to say, put dimensions on there and clean them up right away. So I'm picking OK. And that put pipe dimensions on all of the selected pipes. I'll point out there's a 1 by 0'6" and a 1 by 0'6", and it's kind of crowded with the other stuff around it. Cleaning up the regular ones takes half the time as doing that and the diagonal ones. I'm happy enough to do just the regular ones. So if you watch carefully, all those really short pipes, it'll say, oh, that doesn't fit there. I'm going to go find a place where it does, and make it easier for you to read the plan. And that's part of this 30 seconds. I'm really proud that we can clean up the diagonal ones, and there must be a time when I'd like to do that, but that moving those sometimes makes it harder to understand. If it's always up and to the right, then it's easy to know where that diagonal thing is addressing, what pipe it's addressing. So I didn't have my stopwatch out. I don't know what 30 seconds is, and that's only a guess that gets sort of improved over time, but here it is back. So you see that it was 0'9", but it used to be right smacked on top of that thing. I can still grab and move these things. Escape, 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 or undo. I had them all selected, so I had to hit escape before I grabbed that one thing and moved it. So you can see that they're head start cleaning stuff up. When you see these boxes, I'm just going to get rid of them all, but those are reminders of things that we discovered we know that there's overlap in there, and we didn't want to take it on ourselves to clean it up, but we want to bring them to your attention so you know to pay attention there. I'm just going to select them all in the view and delete them, and say it's kind of up to me to go around and find those things that have extra overlaps. You can also just click on them and use the arrow buttons to clean stuff up. And I don't want to get wound up in getting the whole thing perfect and clean, but you can see that we got center to center dimensions on there, and it was pretty quick to do that, and it's quick to get them mostly cleaned up. Additionally, I want to have above finished floor markers on there that you'll find under families. And under families are annotations, that's notes, and one of those notes is above finished floor. If I just click on that, and I didn't mean to click on it that way, I meant to click on it and drag it, then any pipe you hover over, it is planning to put an above finished floor marker on that pipe. So this one's 12 foot 2.5. I can get it closer. It's putting a little leader line that's defined here in the options box. I'm going to make that a 1/4 inch instead of a 1/2 inch. And then when I put that on, it's low enough to get below the pipe dimensions, but not so far that you have to go hunting for it. Okay, so I can put as many of those on as I like, and then I can put building dimensions or pipe dimensions. I'm going to use aligned again, and I'm going to go from this column line to that pipe, 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 and then back to this column line, and I'm going to pick on nothing to park those dimensions there. If I wanted to dimension to the sprinklers, not to the pipes, that's a bit of a nuisance because the sprinkler is circles. It doesn't have a nice horizontal line in it. If you zoom in far enough, you might find it. However, if I click on that sprinkler, which I'm noticing is a pendant recessed, I'm going to select all of those pendant recessed that there are in the project. Select all instances in the project. So there's 29 of those pendant recessed. I remember the other day we did reliable pendants, so I'm going to switch all of those to reliable pendants. And now I think I've got all my heads as reliable pendants. More importantly, when I click on that, there's a type property, and the type property includes show alignment guide. An alignment guide draws a little 2x2 box around it and a little X through it. So if I wanted to dimension to the sprinklers, I now have a really easy parallel line to dimension to. So I'm going to use aligned. I'm going to go from the column line to that sprinkler, 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 and to that column line. And I'll
Hey, Alan,
yeah.
can you refresh how you turn that on? Was that in the properties?
Yes, I clicked on the sprinkler, and I'm not sure if it's just that recessed pendant. I'm not sure that one has this property. So I made sure that all my sprinklers were reliable sprinklers, that they came from that sprinkler selection box. But then I clicked on edit type. I should probably slow down there a little bit. This sprinkler that I selected has got a boatload of properties, a density and an area and a part number and a height and all that stuff. It's got lots and lots of properties. The properties in this properties box are unique to this particular instance of that property. In addition, every sprinkler of that type has got edit type. It's got another whole batch of properties. And I picked on edit type. I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and that's where it says show alignment guide.
Gotcha. Thanks.
And now that I've dimensioned, I'm going to turn that off.
So you dimensioned to the column lines. Is it just as easy to do it to walls in this case?
It's you can most certainly dimension to the walls. By default, the walls look for the center line. Let me do an aligned dimension. When and I will pick save. But if I hover over a wall, it's fixing the dimension to the center line of the wall. Do you see the dotted
Yeah.
line?
Yep.
But I can't get the edge of the wall. But do you see here, under options, it says go find the wall face or find the wall center line or the center of the call. So if I pick wall faces, then I can get the edges of the walls.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
And if I have it set to faces, but damn it, I wanted the center line, I don't have to change this. If I hover over the wall and I hit the tab key, it'll get me the other parts of the wall.
Hey, Alan,
Yep.
question. Could you just walk me through real quick the walker function you used to get the dimensions originally? I kind of missed what you did.
Sorry. I'm going to give you the shortcut. If you just type WW, it'll start the walker command. But so that I was showing it, I was always picking it off of the menu. In either case, you pick it first, and then you pick a pipe, any pipe,
Yep.
and it gets that guy and all the guys connected to it. Additionally, the walker is a fantastic tool to say, oh, look, I forgot to connect that branch line, because everything lights up except that branch line. Got it?
Yep. And then what?
Then tag pipe. HydroCAD and TP does it also, but HydroCAD tag pipe.
Okay. So that's what I was missing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Tag pipe. Thank you.
You bet. So back here it said, so we're going to clean up each of the three things. We're going to make sure it's cropped, and we're going to add center dimensions. We're going to clean up the center dimensions. We're going to add above finished floors. We're going to put pipe dimensions, and then we're going to drag the floor plans onto the sheets. So I've only fully cleaned up or mostly cleaned up that second floor. Let me go back. Let me go back and take open up that sheet. I have my project browser is getting pretty big. I'm going to collapse some of the stuff. So I'm going to collapse families and I'll leave sheets open. And then I'm going to go to the second floor FP floor, second floor sheet. And then I'm going to go find my second floor floor plan and I'm going to drag it over onto the sheet. I held my finger down to get it on the sheet and I had to let go of the finger to get it to plan on parking itself. And this is, Nathan, you said, could I just use the grid lines that were there? You could, but it doesn't recognize those grid lines for this operation. Do you see the dotted blue line in both directions here, Nathan?
Yeah.
That's telling me my floor plan is exactly lined up with my ceiling plan. So if I click there now, it parks that floor plan on top of that ceiling plan. And there's my pipes, there's my ceiling grids, there's my riser symbols the way they're supposed to be. And that's the trick to making all that work. So someone's mic might be open or someone might be trying to ask a question and they're not coming through. I think I tricked you into opening your mic, Nathan, and it's just background. One more button I want to point out here. Up here is thin lines, and every time you pick it, it changes from thin to thick and back to thin. The way that button looks, I affectionately called it the crayon button. I'm either going to draw my pipes with crayons or I'm going to draw them with 4H lead. In AutoCAD, there's a show line weight button in the options down at the bottom of AutoCAD. This is the exact same thing as that. It takes the line weights and displays them on your screen. It has no effect on the plotting or on the drawing or anything else. Regardless of how that's set, when you plot, the line weights will be part of the plot. If you want a sort of a preview of that, then pick on the crayon button and it'll give you a better preview of what those are going to look like. So I'm going to go drag those other two sheets on while I'm at it. So I'm going to go back to the lower level sheet and I'm going to grab the lower level floor plan and drag it over, let go, and then I'm looking for two dotted blue lines and I'm going to park that. And then I'm going to go to the ground floor plan view or ground floor sheet and I'm going to take the ground floor plan view and drag it over and look for my dotted blue lines in both directions. If I wanted that somewhere else on the sheet, I could pick a window big enough to get both views, and then I could move them both together. If I pick on just one and I move it, they wouldn't be lined up anymore. I double clicked. So now they're not lined up anymore. However, the dotted blue line will get me lined up again. We added those, we lined up the dotted blue lines, and we got them lined up. All right, I think we're having too much fun here, and I think what's left is still too important to do the bum's rush on. So I'm gonna kind of wrap up and skip way ahead to the slide that says if you have questions, and just come back and finish this up next Tuesday, and then go on to the calculations. Anyone else want to make sure I do get to something before we leave it here for the weekend? Or have I jabbered long enough that you're all plenty anxious to get out of here at 1 o'clock? I'd expect that. Let me try rolling this forward, and I'll leave that out of the video topic index. That's all what we didn't cover today that I was hoping to. And I'll leave it on this slide and say, what else? Any questions on what we've covered so far? You see where we're going?
I'm good, Alan.
Good. Nathan, are you okay with this Revit character? Grudgingly or not, I can get you to put the ceiling plan on the sheet and then put the floor plan on top of that.
Yeah, I think we can handle it.
It, it's just not the way it's done. It's just not sprinkler stuff. And Revit was just not designed by sprinkler guys.
Well, Autodesk should have had a sprinkler guy in a room when they wrote software.
They should have, but I'm just as happy to brag that I'm in a pissant little company in a pissant little industry, and Autodesk and Microsoft will just leave us the hell alone. Occasionally, we have to work around that. And
Now, we're used to getting left out of things and working around it on our own.
you got it. So 3 months from now, if you want to outsmart me and say, Al, I figured a way to get it all in one view, I'm all ears. But don't think that it's for lack of trying that I didn't come up with this as the best way around. I think in the whole project that adds an extra 10 minutes to the project. It just grates you that it's not the way we thought it should be. Cool. Anyone else? Well, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend and a great Memorial Day. So Monday is off, but Tuesday morning, Monday night, I'll be up late again and I'll send you another email. And Tuesday morning, we'll be at it again. I'll pick up where we left off here, and we're going to do hydraulic calculations on Tuesday as well. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.